Okay, today we're going to be solving square roots, or solving quadratics using square root. So you need to know that if you have b squared equals a, then b equals plus or minus radical a. You can take the square root. For an example, you have x squared equals 9. When you take the radical of both of them, you get plus or minus 3. The reason behind this is that if you move 9 to the other side by subtracting it, we learned that we can factor and get x plus 3, x minus 3, and solve it and get x equals plus or minus 3. We also know that we can graph this by shifting down 9, plotting 3 and negative 3 on either side, and therefore this graph matches that it has two solutions. Now, if you have a negative outside the radical, you have x squared equals negative 36, and you take the radical of both sides, then you get no solution. Because if I move 36 to the other side, we get x squared equals positive 36, and that means it moved up 36. I shifted it up. Okay? You also have some other types of problems that we can work. So if you have x squared minus 5 equals 4, then I need to undo the addition or subtraction by adding 5 to each side. And now that I have the problem as I did above, which is x squared equals 9. And I can take the radical or the square root of both sides. So I square root both sides, and I get x equals plus or minus 3, just like I did above. Okay? You can also do the following. X squared plus 7 equals 4. And if you undo the addition or subtraction by subtracting 7, we're going to get x squared equals negative 3. And when you take the square root of both sides, you're going to notice that you have a negative underneath, so square root both sides, which leaves me with an answer of no solution. Okay? Now we can take this one step further because these are undoing addition and subtraction. Let's do one where we have to undo multiplication. So 25x squared equals 9. This is going to leave me with undoing by division. So let's undo by division. So I'm going to undo divide by 25. And this leaves me with a problem of x squared equals 9 over 25. Now both of those are perfect squares, which means both of them are going to give me a number that's a whole number. So we get x equals plus or minus. The radical of 9 is 3, and the radical of 25 is 5. So my answer is plus or minus 3 over 5. Okay? Now let's put both of these things together. We can do 4x squared plus 3 equals 23. Let's undo addition first. So let's subtract 3 from both sides. And that gives us the problem of 4x squared equals 20. Now let's undo division, or undo by division. And now we get x squared equals 5. And when we radical both sides, or square root both sides, we get x equals plus or minus radical 5. And you can even give that to me as a decimal. But we're going to keep it simple, and you can just leave it plus or minus radical 5. Okay? Now, we're going to go on to some that are just a little bit more extensive. They're going to have parentheses involved in them, okay? So the first example I'm going to do is just the parentheses squared. So parentheses squared equals 9. Now, it's really just like this problem we had above. My parentheses is already isolated. I'm good to go, so I can just radical both sides. So if I radical this and radical this, I'm going to get x plus 1 equals positive 3. So I'm going to put plus 3. And x plus 1 equals negative 3. So now I have the two answers. 9 broke down to positive 3 and negative 3. And now I'm going to undo the addition or subtraction. So I'm going to subtract 1 from everything. And we get x equals 2 and x equals negative 4. Okay? Let's go one step further and let's put something in front of it. So let's do 5 in front. X plus 1 squared equals 30. Now I have to, before I do anything, I have to undo the multiplication by division just like I did here. So let's divide by 5. So we're going to undo by division, and so now we have x plus 1 squared equals 6. And my parentheses is isolated, so let's take the radical of both sides, or the square root of both sides. So that gives me x plus 1 equals positive radical 6. And x plus 1 equals negative radical 6. And now, again, I'm ready to undo by addition or subtraction. So let's subtract 1 from everything. And that leaves me with an answer of x equals negative 1 plus radical 6. And x equals negative 1 minus radical 6. Now again, I can put those in a calculator and get a decimal, but these are more exact answers. That eliminates everything from rounding and adding and subtracting decimals. So if you don't have a calculator, those are appropriate answers for me. Okay, let's put everything together. Let's do one that has addition, subtraction, parentheses, and everything. So here we're going to have 2x squared, or x plus 7 squared, plus 5 equals 1. Okay, so we're going to undo minus 5, so we're going to undo addition subtraction first. So that's going to leave me with 2x plus 7 squared equals negative 4. Then let's divide by 2. So we're going to undo by division. So now we have x plus 7 squared equals negative 2. So we have isolated the parentheses squared. By isolating the parentheses squared, we're now allowed to take the radical of it. So let's take the radical of both sides, or square root both sides. Now, at this point in time, I can see, uh-oh, I have a negative under the radical. So this means I have no solution. Okay, I want to wish you guys luck. I hope this helped you in your notes today. Your homework today is page 121, and it is 1 through 26 all. So good luck.